Hey ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Jamie here from the JMT Mind Gym. Today's video is a big topic, but I'm going to keep it really short. It's more to create a thought-provoking concept that would more than likely require a bit of further conversation and investigation. Now, it's on the topic of phones, gaming, the online environment not being the problem. Now, caveat and a little disclaimer, I am a parent and a very flawed parent, and I'm still learning. This comes purely from formal education and having worked with a number of young athletes, adolescents, and teenagers, and just a general understanding of human behavior. Now, human beings, we are driven by benefits and payoffs. It's the same reason why we enjoy alcoholic beverages. It's the same reason why we might overeat. It's the same reason. A lot of the times we do things because the benefits outweigh the drawbacks and the setbacks, the consequences and the costs. If it didn't, we would probably cease the behavior or the actions. So generally the benefits and the payoffs outweigh the setbacks and the costs. Now sometimes, excuse me, we're not aware of what they are. And this is prevalent with our youth and the kids and their relationship with gaming and the online platforms. Now, as I mentioned today, it's not parenting advice. It's more a consideration that we can look at. Consider this. What is gaming providing? What is gaming providing for your young ones? Or for our young ones, that they're perceiving that they're not getting elsewhere, because they're getting a benefit, they're getting a gain, they're getting an opportunity, they are gaining things from this online environment that they are not getting elsewhere. Now, in my work with children, quite often I will take them through what is known as a values determination process. Now, within the values determination process, we are essentially finding out what is most important to the child, what is the highest priority, where do they need the least amount of external motivation, so where do they have the greatest amount of intrinsic motivation, so being driven from within, and take a wild guess where a lot of adolescents, teenagers, and children have this highest level of intrinsic motivation or something that they value or prioritize. Now, the answer is in the online environment. That is where their attention's going. That's where their intention's going. That's where their retention's going. So there is a very high value on this. Now, initially, this can be quite disturbing, quite annoying, quite frustrating for the parents, especially if they've got a high-performing child that is, from the outside looking in, is, I don't want to use the word addiction, but perhaps that's what it is. If a duck quacks, it's a duck. So maybe they are obsessed with gaming and being online. Now, what's driving the behavior is completely unique. It's as unique as their thumbprint. It's as unique as the retina of their eye. It is completely and utterly unique to the individual. Now, it could be connection comes up a lot of the time. Relationships come up a lot of the time. A feeling of belonging. Now, just let that land for a second. As an adult, where and when was the last time you felt like you truly belonged to something? Think about if you're a business owner, you're probably all in. You're all in. Elbows, knees, body, you're all in. You think about it, you feel about it, you act about it, because that's where you feel like you belong. They're your people. If you're part of a sports team as an adult, you feel like you belong. When I think about my childhood and the friends I used to kick around with when I was a kid, I felt like I was part of something. We were a posse. We belonged. And that's how we did it back in the day. There's other things that they are getting from the online platforms. They're getting a feeling of achievement. They're gaining things. They're getting opportunities. They're connecting. They're progressing. And this is where they're getting it. So therefore, this is creating a greater level of importance and priority for our young ones. Now, before I continue down off on this tangent, I want to share a quote with you. And this is the cornerstone of my professional career and a really poignant and potent quote. And the quote is this: the quality of our life is determined by the quality of the questions that we ask ourselves or qualified, trusted others. Now, one of the first things that you could do, because the thing is, right, the goal isn't to take screens away from the kids. The intention isn't to rip the online environment away from them. Because if you think about something that you value and something that's important to you, and you gain more benefits than consequences and costs, if I came along and said to you, oh, you enjoy mountain biking, sensational. I'm just going to take your mountain bike away from you. You're not going to be terribly happy about it, are you? If you're an adult that enjoys the fitness, enjoys being fit and working out and going to the gym. Now imagine if we said, well, you spend 2 hours at the gym every day. You're now only going to spend 12 minutes at the gym. That's all you're allowed. You've got from 3 o'clock to 12 past 3. You're going to get pretty dissatisfied and you're going to get pretty disgruntled. So the goal isn't to take the screens or the online platforms away from our children. It's to guide them back to a life that is compelling, where the screen's not dominating things. And so we're not dominating their lives. So if we've got a life that's compelling and interesting and providing some of the benefits and providing some of the payoffs that we're getting from the screens, the kids are gonna have a minimalized, more sort of diluted desire to get online. But if life's not compelling, and if in life I'm not feeling like I belong, I don't feel like I'm connecting with people, I'm not gaining, I'm not progressing, I'm not achieving things, then why on God's earth would I want to go out and be out in the world when I can be online, shooting, doing whatever I'm doing with my friends and gaining all those benefits? So the goal is not to take the online platforms away. The goal is to ask quality questions and ask our children, what are you getting from this? What is the high priority? What's the payoff? What's the benefit? Before I give you a practical suggestion and tool, which you can, take it as you will, I've worked with a lot of people in relation to addiction, and I've worked through addiction myself. What happens is the benefits outweigh the costs. So the benefit of the vice outweighs the setbacks, the drawbacks, and the consequences. Now, a lot of the times we won't see it like that because we'll see all the negatives. But if we ask quality questions and we say, well, what are the benefits? What are you getting from this? So if I was to talk to my son, my 15-year-old son, and say to him, well, give me 20 to 50 benefits. What are 20 to 50 benefits of being online and gaming? Actually taking the time to ask this question. Now he's going to initially say, well, I've got about 5 or 6, which would be correct. That's what they're going to be consciously aware of. What they're unconscious to is some of the benefits, payoffs, the gain of gaming or being online. It's going to be the stuff in the background. It's going to be in their unconscious and subconscious. And this is where the patterns of unconscious and subconscious patterns of thinking and behavior are coming from. This is where the payoff is. So actually taking the time to ask little Johnny, what is it that you'll get? What's important? What are you getting from gaming and being online? Now you're going to end up with a whole heap of data. You're going to end up with a whole heap of insights. You're going to get all types of things like achievement, connection, belonging, progress, You're going to get this stuff, relationships, catching up with their buddies. And this is brilliant, because then what you can do is you can look at this stuff and go, well, where can little Johnny get this in his life to the same degree that's not gaining and being online? And this is where us as parents can have some governance and some agency, because at the end of the day, unless they're over 16, 17, 18, we're in charge. So let's guide our children. Let's guide them, expand their awareness, and guide them to other options, other opportunities, other choices that they can make to get that sovereignty back, to navigate away from a life that's dominated by the online environment. We already know, the general setbacks and consequences of being online too much. So I don't need to go into that. This is purely asking quality questions and giving options and opportunities that are not online or gaming. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense, because it's not to, as I mentioned in the start of this video, gaming's not the problem. Online's not the problem. The problem is the benefits, the payoffs of being online are outweighing the consequences and the costs. In addiction and working with those that are navigating through that part of their lives, there is a little saying that I have. When the gain of the problem is greater than the pain of the problem, we will keep doing said problem. So I'm going to say it again. When the gain of the problem is greater than the pain of the problem, we will keep repeating the behavior. I've given examples many times of driving past the local hospital there, and there was a lady that I seen out at the traffic lights on a breathing machine with the hoses up the nose, chugging away on a cigarette. And in my judgmental self way back then, I thought to myself, have you not learnt the lesson yet? You've obviously got a machine keeping fresh air into your system and you're still smoking. But it just highlights what underpins obsession and addiction to things. Is because the gain of the problem outweighs the pain of the problem. So, suggested task. Sit down with little Johnny, or your version of little Johnny. Find out 20 to 50 benefits or payoffs for being online and gaming. Start there. If you want bonus points or a gold star sticker and you want to go a little bit deeper, you can ask, what's the setback, little Johnny? What's the drawback of being online excessively in their life specifically? Don't push answers into their heads. Don't slam your own bullshit into the children. Listen to your child. They can make an inference and an insight far greater than what we can. As much as we understand our children, the way they think, the way they act, they also have a very, very deep understanding and model and map of their own world. So let them answer. Just guide them. Don't direct them. Don't tell them. Just guide them. Hopefully that's helpful. If it is, chuck your thoughts in the comments. I don't pretend to know anything. Very flawed parent. Just throwing out a point of view and perspective in relation to gaming and online not being the problem.